Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to getting informed. We dig into the sources so you don't have to.
That's right.
Today we're tackling a story that started as a pretty impactful book and then just exploded onto the big screen.
We're talking Chetan Bhagat's debut, 5 Point Someone, and how it turned into the massive Bollywood hit, Three Idiots.
Exactly. And our mission really is to figure out why. Why did this specific story connect so deeply? How did it manage to, challenge the education system?
And also look at the interesting ways it changed from the page to the screen. It's more than just a story. It gives you this real insight into youth culture, academic stress in India, things people are still talking about.
That's it. Let's get into it. 5 Point
Yep.
Someone, What Not to Do at IIT. It lands in 2004. It wasn't just a book, was it? It felt like it instantly became this huge cultural thing, especially in Indian English writing.
Oh, absolutely. Almost overnight.
Mhm.
And I think the reason it hit so hard was its accessibility.
Right.
Before it got, a lot of Indian fiction in English felt maybe a bit heavy
Mm-hmm.
or academic.
Yeah, maybe not for everyone.
Exactly.
Oh.
But he came in with this really simple language,
Yeah.
super relatable stories. He just nailed the vibe of student life at IIT.
Mm-hmm.
The humor, the stress, the everyday reality.
IIT, which for anyone listening is like the benchmark for tough academics and high pressure in India.
Totally. And so this book, it really marked a shift. It kind of opened up Indian English fiction to a much wider audience, people who maybe wouldn't have picked up those denser literary classics.
Makes sense. So the core of it is these three friends at IIT Delhi. You've got Hari, he's the narrator, kind of the average guy,
Mm-hmm.
a bit insecure, figuring things out.
Yeah, juggling studies, friendships, relationships, the usual. Then there's Ryan. He's the charismatic one, the rebel,
Mm-hmm.
always questioning the rules, the system.
Non-conformist.
Definitely. And then Alok. He's the sincere one, but he's got all this pressure from his family, society's expectations weighing him down.
And right away, you get this central conflict. These are smart guys, right?
Yeah.
But they're just drowning under the academic pressure.
Mm.
That grading system, the GPA, the rankings,
Mm.
it just reduces them to numbers.
And the book tracks everything, their friendship, the pranks, the struggles,
Mhm.
the late night studying, the romances. There's Hari thing with Neha, the professor's daughter, which adds some fun tension.
Right, the classic forbidden element.
But it's deeper than just campus life. It
Mm.
really digs into these universal themes, being young, finding yourself, friendship, love. And importantly, it's a real critique of an education system that seemed to value marks way more than actual creativity or, thinking for yourself.
That critique feels central. Education and pressure, that's theme number one, loud and clear. The obsession with grades, not real learning. But how did the book show what real intelligence looked like if the main characters weren't exactly topping the class?
Well, that's the interesting part.
Hmm.
For Hari, Ryan, and Alok, their intelligence wasn't measured by their GPA that was actually crushing them. It was shown in how they solved problems, how they supported each other, their willingness to question things.
Ah,
And that ties right into the friendship theme. In that pressure cooker environment, their bond becomes everything. It's about survival, really. Peer support as the antidote to intense competition.
absolutely. And beyond that, you have the whole love and youth angle, balancing studies, romance, parents, stuff everyone goes through.
Right, and Ryan really carries that individuality versus the system flag.
Yeah.
He's the embodiment of pushing back.
And crucially, it's not all doom and gloom. It's funny. The humor and satire, the way Bhagat describes the campus chaos with this simple, witty style,
Mm.
it makes it so engaging you feel like you're right there.
And that style, Bhagat's writing style, is so key to its success. It's conversational, it's direct, it's funny. Like, it's a simple English. It made it a really easy read, a page turner.
Especially for young readers, maybe.
Exactly. For a lot of people, it was probably the book that got them into reading novels in English. It wasn't intimidating.
So obviously huge strengths there. Relatable characters, the humor, the honest take on student stress, sparking those conversations about education. But that simplicity, was that also a sticking point for some?
It was, yeah. Some critics definitely argued it was too simple, that it lacked maybe the literary depth you'd find elsewhere,
Okay.
and maybe relied a bit on stereotypes, the super strict professor, the standard romantic plots. The argument was it leaned more towards entertainment than, say, offering complex solutions.
Right, more critique than solution, perhaps. But did those criticisms actually dent its popularity or impact?
Honestly, not really in the bigger picture. Its impact was massive because it was so accessible and entertaining, even while tackling these pretty serious issues. It sort of flipped the script, didn't it? Instead of just celebrating the academic stars.
It championed the average student, the one struggling but thinking differently.
Exactly. Showing that real learning isn't just memorizing stuff. It's about understanding, applying, questioning.
So who should pick this book up today? Why should you, listening now, care about 5 Point Someone?
Well, for students and young adults, it's incredibly relevant. It talks directly about that pressure, exams, grades, and it offers this quiet reassurance that, your marks don't define you. It encourages finding yourself, making mistakes.
And for anyone just starting college or university, even if it's not IIT.
Oh, totally. It captures that universal college experience. The friendships, the silly stuff, the struggles, first love. It helps you think about balancing everything, academics, life, relationships, without kind of losing who you are.
What about parents?
Crucial read for parents, I think. Gives real insight into what students go through emotionally. It might prompt a shift, towards focusing more on well-being, not just the report card. That's a conversation happening everywhere now.
Definitely. And you mentioned earlier, it's great for new readers of English novels.
Absolutely. A perfect gateway. Easy style, engaging story. Great for building that reading habit without feeling like you're climbing Mount Everest.
And even for educators, policymakers.
Yeah, it holds up a mirror to the flaws in rigid systems. It encourages thinking about how to make education more, human, more innovative, holistic, and even if you've only seen the movie.
Right, fans of the film.
You should read the book. It gives you a slightly different angle, maybe a bit more nuance in places, adds to your appreciation of both.
So, wrapping up the book itself, what's the big takeaway for you, the listener? It's about shifting perspective, right? Life's more than a grade.
It is. It's about that emotional connection, valuing friendship, creativity, individuality. And for people outside India, it's a window into that specific cultural context around education. Basically, if you've ever been a student or raised one or just care about how education shapes us, this book has something for you.
But like we said, the story didn't stop there. The book was huge, so a movie felt almost inevitable.
And it happened in 2009. Three Idiots. Directed by Rajkumar Hirani, massive Bollywood stars Amir Khan, Arma Savan, Sharman Joshi, Kareena Kapoor, Bowman Irani. I mean, huge.
A powerhouse cast.
Definitely. And while it kept that core critique of the education system that focused on student struggles, the movie took some significant creative liberties.
Yeah, it wasn't a straight adaptation.
Not at all. Which actually amplified its reach, I think. It took this popular Indian novel and turned it into something truly global.
Let's talk about those changes. The characters, for instance. Book, Hari, Ryan, Alok. Movie, Farhan, Rancho, Raju. The big one there is Rancho, played by Amir Khan. He wasn't really in the book like that, was he?
Not exactly. He's sort of inspired by Ryan, the book's rebel, but Rancho becomes this almost mythical figure, a visionary thinker, incredibly gifted but completely outside the system's definition of success. He's the challenge to the system, personified.
Why make that change, do you think? What did Rancho add?
I think Rancho offered hope, an ideal. He wasn't just pointing out the problems. He was embodying a different way of living and learning. And this really changed the film's tone. The book, from Hari's perspective, is funny, yes, but maybe more grounded, more slice of life. The movie adds these layers of high drama, broader comedy, and this really deep emotional core. It made the story resonate on a much grander scale, hitting universal chords. It became less about just IIT, more about life philosophy.
The plot changed quite a bit, too. The love story Hari and Neha in the book becomes Rancho and Pia in the movie.
Right. And that movie romance felt more tied into Rancho's whole philosophy of challenging norms, even in relationships. Pia, played by Kareena Kapoor, had her own journey breaking free.
And some of the darker elements from the book, like Neha's brother's suicide attempt.
That was reworked into the Joy Lobo subplot in the film. Still incredibly powerful, addressing student suicide, but framed differently within the movie's narrative about systemic pressure. It felt very integrated.
And then there were completely new things the movie introduced, things that became iconic.
Oh yeah, things not in the book at all. The biggest one, all is well.
That phrase went everywhere, became a national catchphrase almost.
Absolutely. And the other big one was the whole mystery around Rancho's identity, that final twist.
Why do you think All Is Well struck such a chord? It's so simple.
I think it tapped into this deep need for reassurance, for coping. In the face of all that pressure, the movie depicts academic, parental, societal, and asylum. It offered this simple mantra, like a psychological tool for resilience.
Yeah.
Just pat your heart and say, all is well, You calm the nerves, offered a tiny bit of
Like a
control.
way to handle the fear.
Exactly. And that relatability, that emotional connection, helped make Three Idiots one of the highest-grossing Indian films ever, a genuine cultural phenomenon. Its messages follow your passion, value creativity, humanize education. They just landed powerfully.
So looking back, you have 5 Point Someone, the book, planting these seeds, starting the conversation, especially among young readers in India.
Every important conversation.
But then Three Idiots, the film, takes those themes and just amplifies them massively, makes them accessible and relevant to a global audience, turns the student story into a universal message of hope and innovation.
It really did. The book lit the spark, the film created the bonfire. It became this cinematic movement that honestly still inspires people today.
So quite a journey. From a relatable, maybe slightly raw novel about 3 students trying to survive IIT to this globally acclaimed film that resonated across cultures. Themes like pressure, friendship, finding your own path, clearly they hit home.
They really do. Universally relevant.
And it kind of leaves you thinking, doesn't it? If one story about 3 engineering students can ignite this massive global conversation about what education is really for, about discovering yourself, what other stories are out there?
Yeah, what other critiques or inspirations are hidden in just everyday life, waiting to be told?
And maybe more personally for you listening, how do you define success, really? Is it just the numbers, the grades, the rankings, or is it something more?